In the winter of 1806, a 22-year-old Boston merchant had an idea. His name was Frederic Tudor. He was going to ship ice to the Caribbean. Everyone he told thought he was insane. Ice melts. Ships take weeks. The tropics are hot. Nobody in the Caribbean had ever paid for ice. Nobody had ever needed to. Tudor went anyway. He lost money for years. He was put in debtor's prison twice. He kept going. By 1847, Frederic Tudor was shipping 52,000 tons of ice per year. To 28 American cities. To Cuba, Jamaica, Brazil, India, and Europe. He was called the Ice King. He had built the most valuable cold chain in history. And within 50 years, it was completely gone. Before refrigeration, keeping food cold was a full-time problem. Every home had an icebox. It was exactly what it sounds like. A wooden cabinet. Insulated with cork or sawdust. With a compartment at the top for a block of ice. The iceman came every few days. He cut ice from frozen lakes and rivers in winter. He stored it in warehouses packed with sawdust. He delivered it by horse-drawn cart in summer. This was an enormous industry. By the 1880s, over 25,000 Americans worked in the ice trade. Hundreds of thousands more were involved in transportation, storage, and delivery. The ice came from New England ponds and rivers. Workers cut it with hand saws in January. They packed it in sawdust. They waited for summer. Cities in warm climates had no local ice. They imported it from the north. New Orleans received ice shipped from Boston. Calcutta received ice shipped from Massachusetts. Ice was not a luxury. It was infrastructure. And it was all about to become unnecessary. The principle behind mechanical refrigeration was known long before anyone made it practical. In 1756, William Cullen demonstrated artificial cooling at the University of Glasgow. He used a pump to create a partial vacuum over ether. The ether evaporated. The evaporation absorbed heat. A small amount of ice formed. Nobody immediately saw how to turn this into a machine. In 1834, Jacob Perkins patented the first vapor compression refrigeration system. Compress, condense, expand, evaporate. The same basic cycle inside every refrigerator today. The machine worked. It was not practical. The problem was toxic gases. Early systems used ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and methyl chloride. All of them were poisonous. Several were explosive. A refrigerator leak could kill an entire household. People kept buying ice. In 1876, German engineer Karl von Linde built reliable ammonia refrigeration systems for breweries. Cold storage spread to meatpacking plants and ships. Then in 1913, Fred Wolf invented the first home electric refrigerator. It still sat on top of an icebox. In 1918, William Durant introduced the first self-contained home refrigerator. It cost about $700. That was 2 months' wages for an average American worker. The price fell quickly. By the 1930s, home refrigerators were common in American households. The ice trade collapsed. It did not slow down. It did not gradually decline. It collapsed. Frederic Tudor's ice industry had employed hundreds of thousands of people. It had built vast networks of warehouses, delivery routes, and storage facilities. It had supplied every hotel, hospital, saloon, and household in America. Within 1 generation, it was gone. The ice harvesters had no work. The delivery men had no routes. The ice houses stood empty. The whole system simply stopped. This is one of the most complete industry destructions in modern history. Not a gradual replacement. A sudden ending. The refrigerator changed more than just food storage. It changed what humans ate. Before refrigeration, food was seasonal. You ate what was available locally, and now, strawberries in June, root vegetables all winter, meat within a day of slaughter. Refrigeration broke that pattern. Suddenly, food could travel. Food could wait. Cold storage spread to ships and railways. It created the modern food cold chain. A strawberry grown in California could be eaten in New York a week later. Beef slaughtered in Chicago could reach London in good condition. A person in London could eat a banana from Jamaica. None of that was possible before refrigeration. The variety of food available to ordinary people expanded more in 50 years than in the previous 5,000 years of agriculture. But here is the part that rarely gets mentioned. Early refrigerators used Freon, a chemical refrigerant introduced in 1930. It was considered a miracle. Safe, stable, non-toxic. Unlike the ammonia systems that had poisoned people for decades, Freon was safe for humans. It was not safe for the ozone layer. The refrigerator that made modern food possible also contributed to one of the largest environmental crises in history. The Montreal Protocol of 1987 began phasing out Freon globally. The refrigerator industry had to reinvent itself again. Frederic Tudor shipped ice in wooden crates to the Caribbean in 1806. He thought he was solving a problem for wealthy people who wanted cold drinks. He built the infrastructure that made global food trade possible. He had no idea. The electric refrigerator destroyed his industry within a generation. And the chemical it used nearly destroyed the atmosphere. Everything around you was made before you. Almost none of it turned out the way its inventors expected. Before the refrigerator changed what humans ate, there was something that changed what humans wore. Something whose history involves child labor, dangerous machines, and a race between two inventors still disputed today. That story is next.